Okay. So, um, let's introduce each other. This is Ashley D, and
This is Dabari, aka Didi.
you are a transgender. Describe yourself.
I am now a trans. I am on a journey of becoming a transgender woman. Um, I just started maybe a few months ago, so I'm still in boy mode for most of the time, but I identify as a transgender person now.
Okay. Um, First and foremost, are you familiar with Malaysia Booker?
Yes, I recently heard a story about the girl that was the trans girl that was, first she was attacked maybe a few weeks ago, and a few days ago she was just murdered, in broad daylight. They found her face down, and it's terrible. It's terrible, and some people might say, oh, she was probably tricking somebody, or whatever the case may be. Even if she was, let's say she was, the punishment does not fit the crime. For somebody to take someone's life, to see somebody as trans and just look at them as though they're worthless, as though nobody cares about them, and say their life is not worth it. That's ridiculous.
Most definitely. I agree. I don't care what she was doing, which I'm not implying she was doing anything bad. It's no excuse.
Right. We don't know.
Right. So, how does it make you feel when these situations occur, and do you feel like they get enough attention?
When these situations occur, I would say you kind of do feel like on the inside, like that could happen to me. Do they get enough attention? I don't know if they do, especially understanding that the LGBT community is not widely accepted. I mean, it's a lot better than what it used to be. Mm-hmm. But with the knowledge of that not being widely accepted, these should be like national stories that are talked about and not tolerated at all. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel, because otherwise it's like you kind of turning a blind eye. And then there are even times when they disrespect this person's identity. They might call them a man or something like that when they are talking about the stories. So, they need to step their game up when it comes to transgenders. Their life is valued too.
Yes, I saw that a lot in the comment section for this particular story. People wanted to fight for the right to call her a man, and it's just not even time for that.
At all.
So, speaking of pronouns, when somebody has transitioned from male to female, they are a female, point blank period, right?
They are a transgender female.
Okay.
We were not born a female. We were born male, and a lot of us understand that, and that's not something that you can really use against us. We know that. It's not rocket science. We know that.
Right.
And there are things that separate us from cisgender women, is what the term is for a woman that's born female. And but there are things that we have in common. There are a lot of things we have in common. And so when you do transition, me, myself, I will identify myself as a transgender woman. I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's not cut and dry. You do identify as a transgender woman, a transgender female, and you recognize the difference in somebody who was born a female.
Yes, and you got to keep in mind, that's me. Some other people, they may not like what I have to say. They might say, no, I'm a female. Like, regardless, I was born in the wrong body. Like, And I mean that I can understand that too. Like I know I felt like, dang, my life would be easier if I was just born a natural born female. Like my life would have been so much easier. But now I also respect the fact that I would have had faced struggles as a woman if I were born a natural born female. So I understand that as well, that it's not easy.
Yes. So you respect the struggle of women, and you
Yes.
don't you don't ever feel like you could compete with a woman.
Correct. I'm not out here to compete with a woman, or a transgender woman, or a gay boy, or anybody. I'm just out here to live my life and live my truth.
Awesome. Awesome. That's important for people to know. It's not about competition. It's not about trying to take your spot. You're just living your truth.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Okay. How have you been accepted in your family?
Well, I come from a very religious family, Christian based. I was raised in a church. So I do have certain spiritual beliefs and things like that. But they are definitely, they're not supportive of what I'm doing, but they love me regardless. Now, my mother, she definitely, this whole thing that I'm doing turns her off completely. She has told me things like, you'll never be a woman. I don't know why you're trying to be something that you're not. It's not easy being a woman. All of these different things. And like my dad, he's tried to discourage me in a way, even though he's also noted that, he understands that he can't change my, what I'm looking to do for my own life. And, my sister, she boo-hoo cried about it when I first, had came out with this information, when she found out that it was serious. But she kind of has moved past that. And one person I will say is very special to me, my grandfather. He said that he already know, I should already know how he feels about it on a religious level. But he said otherwise, he just wants to make sure that I have myself together, that I'm financially stable, that I am mentally prepared for the life I'm about to embark on. And he's always been such a loving person, such a supportive person to me. And so that's just kind of like, in a nutshell, my family. Like I said, they will never support this. They'll never look at it as real. They still calling me, son and grandson and, this and that. And I'll give that to them. They're my family. But anybody else that would do something like that out of disrespect, they wouldn't be in my life too long.
So you would tolerate your family using male pronouns because that's your family, but everybody else, you demand respect by using female pronouns, especially when you start presenting as a female, a transgender female.
And that's the thing. When I'm presenting that way, like right now, I know how I present myself. And if somebody were to call me something, especially like at work and stuff like that, on the daily, I'm being called, sir, or, when people, customers or anybody. And I know how I'm presenting myself currently. But like when it's the intent behind what someone says. Like even if I'm presenting myself as a female and somebody were to slip up and call me a male for whatever reason, I'm okay with that. But the intent, if your intent is to hurt, to damage, to make some kind of point to me that you don't agree with the way I'm living my life, that's when we have a problem. And that's when we will never be in the same space. We'll never share the same air. There's no reason for us to, because you obviously are not for me, so I'm not for you at this point.
Right. Now, you just made a video about your experience with DL men, and I see on your Instagram you have a post about your DL friend, and you don't show his face. So you seem to be very respectful of people's wishes, the men that you deal with that don't want to be outed. How do you feel about DL men? not wanting to be seen with you?
This is what I would say. My DL friend that I had, that I posted about and talked about in that video, he would always go out with me in public. And I remember thinking when I first met him, I was like, I thought that he would just want to hang out with me around the house. I thought he would be embarrassed of me, but I was actually very wrong. He went to all kind of places with me, especially with how I present myself or, my mannerisms. He would still kind of go out with me. Now, when it comes to, I'm the type of person, because I understand the fear that they have or understand the way that they live their life, I'll tell them straight up. I was like, I remember one time me and him were, at an office or something, and it was somebody he knew walked in, and I said, you want me to go switch seats real quick, so there ain't no problems for you. I'm that type of person, but like, how do I feel? I hate that society has caused these men to be so fearful of what people are going to say about them. Shoot, I'm fearful sometimes,
Yes.
I get bashful sometimes. I get shy sometimes. I feel like being a part of the LGBT community, it's a constant state of coming out. Like, even no matter how you present yourself, you always are going to have to come out to somebody that may have not, got your tea. Whatever the case may be, you always going to have to come out. And so I can understand the fear that they have. They're usually from certain backgrounds that just does not tolerate it at all. But, I wish it was different. I'm nothing to be ashamed of.
That's the key point there. And I agree. You're a beautiful person, and I'm glad to have met you. And I wouldn't be ashamed to be seen with you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. You are a spectacular person yourself. You're very beautiful as well.
Thank you. You see, my subscribers have more questions for you. Would you be open to answering those questions when you are further along in your journey?
Yeah, that's fine. I am not scared of your subscribers. I'm just saying that, yeah, anything they want to know, as long as they being respectful, that's all I ever ask. It's always the intent with me. It's not what the words are, the action, it's the intent. Somebody could punch me in the face, and if they did it on accident, I'd be like, my bad, I was in your way. I might be like that. But, as long as they're being respectful, they can ask me anything that they want to.
Okay. You heard that, subscribers? So, don't come for Bari.
Don't do it.
Don't. I might ask you to do a follow-up soon. And I appreciate your time. People have short attention spans, so let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for this opportunity to, share a little bit of my life. And I'm so happy to have met you as well.
Thank you. And we're going to stay in touch.
Yes, of course.
Okay, then.
All right, y'all.